I was 18 changing a fluorescent bulb at this place I worked, and I was on a ladder, and I had the one end of the bulb in, I had my hand on the ladder, and for some reason I thought it was a good idea to put my finger on the one end of the fluorescent bulb to try to push it up in there. Next thing I knew, I was on the ground.
That's insane.
Sent me. That was a big lesson. Knew I didn't want to be an electrician right then.
All right, welcome back to Dyno Service Bros with the Dyno Service Pros. I'm David, this is Bradley, and we're here with Corey from Ampere. Corey, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So I've been an electrician for 8 years. Mostly what I'm specialized in is new construction and service.
Okay.
So I've done everything from big commercial high rises to small tiny houses to even working on the iron mines in Iron County.
Oh, interesting.
That's cool.
So I've been everywhere.
How was the iron mine? Like, what did you do in there? I'm like, that's a cool story.
So we did a bunch of random stuff. So it was
Everything against code. No, I'm just kidding.
we just went up there and someone told us, "Hey, pull this wire out, put this wire in, pull this wire out, put this." It was just busy work.
Is it underground? Is that mine underground?
No, it's an open pit mine.
Open pit mine? Okay, I didn't know how that
Open
was.
pit mine. So when you're there, you have to have your hard hats, safety glasses, everything, and it's.
Hey, Corey, just get a little closer to that mic for me.
Gotcha.
go.
Yeah,
That better?
Yeah, better.
Yeah, it's-
just lead into it a little bit.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You still got to kind of talk into it. So, oh, you sound like you're like, hello.
Yeah.
I'm all the way out there.
Yeah, it sound like you're in space.
Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
No, you're
You're
good.
good.
But go ahead.
Well, I lost my train of thought.
The Iron Mountain. So you
Iron
guys just had to
mines.
pull some wires out of it, but it's an open pit mine.
Yeah, so it was closed for a long time, and so we spent a full year getting it back up and running.
Oh,
So
wow.
we had to get like 4 pump stations to pump water from a big, huge open pit mine that filled up with groundwater.
Yeah. When I was young in high school, I used to go and explore all that
Wait,
stuff.
is this the mine where everybody goes shooting?
I don't know that it's like in between. It's in between going to Newcastle Enterprise and Cedar. But it's just
Yeah, so it's as you go to Enterprise on your right, you have all those railroad cars.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's right up in there.
Okay.
So it's been a mine since the pioneers have come
I'll look it
here,
up.
and so one of these open pit mines filled with groundwater, and so they were just pumping that water to the mine to clean out the slag.
What's it
And
called?
so-
Iron County mine? What did you say it was?
Utah Iron.
Utah Iron.
Yeah, so I was there for a good 2 years. I worked for, at the time it was Barney Brothers Electric, and so
how was that? So when did you start up your own company?
I started in my own company up in August of 2022.
Okay.
It was more of a side thing because I was starting to do side projects that were more than $10,000.
Yeah. You so
And I didn't want to get audited by the IRS, and I'm like, okay, I got to do this legally.
I didn't want the whole insurance or had to have the insurance and everything else.
Yeah, so I started on the side and then worked my way up. I was working at Hedgehog Electric at the time, and then it started turning into something bigger than I wanted.
Yeah.
And then so I had to decide whether to stay at Hedgehog or just do my own thing.
Yeah.
And so I decided to do my own thing. So I got a business partner. In February, we went in business together. And then everything was going smooth. We thought we were going to change the world and everything. And then my world got rocked in the end of June of 2023 when he committed suicide.
Oh, your partner.
And so then my whole world was rocked, and I was faced with the choice. I was working with Whipple at the time. I had to quit Whipple, spend a day figuring stuff out, and then just hit the ground running.
Damn.
Because they had obligations that they had to take care of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah, you didn't really
And
have a
I
choice.
was 50% partner, so I had no choice.
Yeah.
And so
I remember this because Mikhail worked at Whipple, and so she had come home and she was telling me about it. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So I was recently
I'm
then.
sorry. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. That because Mikhail was just at Whipple not too long
Just
ago.
over a year ago.
That's
Yeah.
insane, man. Sorry to
So-
hear that. That's tough. That's never easy.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things where, I mean, you seem like you're fairly busy now, throwing yourself at it. You guys stay consecutively busy, right? Doing a lot of big projects.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll have. It just seems like how the universe works is everybody wants to do everything at the same time, and then everybody doesn't want to do everything at the same time.
Yeah.
So I just don't get how it works. Like everybody's brains are just synced where.
So is it just you now, or did you bring in another partner to help you?
No, so I have another partner. His name's Tash Shriver.
Okay. I know Tash Shriver.
Yeah, you know him?
Yeah, out of Newcastle, right? Yeah, I know Tash Shriver. Me and him weren't cool, but I know it's like, I mean, we were cool. Like, don't get me wrong, we were more like, it was a small town, so everyone knows each other. So I know the Shrivers and stuff like that.
Bully or something?
No. I mean, I think how old is he? Like 29?
No, he's 31.
Yeah, he's a lot older. So like, I knew his sister. Yeah, his sister was a grade above me, but it's a small town. Our graduating class was like 35 people, so everyone knows everybody. But yeah, I know of him. So that's cool though. Small world, very small world. That's
very
crazy. I didn't know he was
even
an electrician, so that's cool.
No, he's not an electrician. So he's the business side of my business.
Oh,
so I know the trade side. I know the trade side more.
Yeah.
He knows the business side more. So it's kind of the best of both worlds because I can't split my attention between both.
Yeah. And that's perfect. That's what we have here. Brad is the business. If he plumbed your house, it'd probably flood.
Yeah. Don't let me do that.
So, and then I know the plumbing. So I know the field, but he gets his hands dirty. He ain't afraid. Like, we're still a small company. So if things like go sideways or like we got a big project, he's there. Like we're working on an 8-inch secondary main and it's me and him. So he'll still get out in the field, but it's more of like, what do you want me to do, man? I'm here to help you, So it's a great business partnership to have. I think it works great because, like you said, them knowing the business, it keeps you in field to make sure things are working proper. But
even time management, like I couldn't imagine working in the field then having to come home at like 6 or 7 and then finishing my day with paperwork.
Well, that's what I was doing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I'd be working 12 hours a day and then going home and then having to do everything else on top of working.
Yeah.
While I'm working, answering the phones and scheduling.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love when I give him the phone.
I hate it. I'm like, dude, because I'm in field, and so it's like I'm like talking to customer, and I'm like trying to hurry it through, and then I'm like making phone calls as I'm like soldering. I'm like, yeah, we'll get someone out there. It's too much. It's like you could do it, but to be like a professional company that is well known and stuff like that, you need to have those things lined out so people aren't like, where are you at? I can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, there'll be times where like I just hang up a phone call and I'm like, Taz, I just botched that. Call him back and fix it.
Yeah, it happens. Everyone plays their role. You're like, I could do the work. Just let me do the work. So, but that's good. I mean, what's you say you guys do a lot more new construction, right, than anything through your company? That's what you guys focus on.
Correct. Yeah, that's our in our business goals is we just want to do mostly new construction.
Is there more money in that for electric?
Yes and no. There's more money in the volume, but like for a single house, there's not as much money. You don't have that much of a margin.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is with new construction is that I'm not trying to call any companies out around this area, but that it's just the quality has gone down. Like it just seems like nothing's being built with quality anymore.
We talk about this all the time.
And I mean, even though that keeps you guys in business because you guys are mostly service, I think quality over quantity is
100%.
a better motto.
Yeah.
And I mean, it might cost a little bit more, but it's going to last longer.
Right. Yeah, we go out to homes all the time that are like 1-2 years old.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane.
Even for like the plumbing side of things, our repipes are probably, I mean, they're not more than the next guy, but they aren't the lowest of cost. But I mean, you see a lot of people like repiping, not taking care of like the water lines, insulating, putting isolators in between studs. They just like whip and dip everything and people flood out.
For everybody out there that doesn't understand what he's saying, he's just saying they're not just throwing pipe through there. There's actually a process that it takes to ensure quality.
Yes, if you want to get like technical, there's like for us, like you say, the quality's out the door where people just aren't taking the time to do the little things that will make it last a longer period of time. So it's like I just went to this house that's 5 years old. It had a pinhole leak because they just ran the pipe through the stud and bent it over. So it was sitting on the wood and just over time rubbed a hole in itself and just was flooding out the home. So, but for us, like we run it up, we put an isolator so it's stuck in plastic, holds it in place, and then 90 out, so it's all nice and clean. But it, like you say, You're going to charge a little bit more maybe than the next guy, but the quality is going to be a great investment long term.
Yeah.
You know, so it's worthwhile.
Where do you see poor quality in electrical?
Are you talking about in this area down here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
You don't have to call anybody out. It's just I'm just curious.
So I see it a lot in the southern porches and all the newer developments, like all the track homes.
Oh yeah.
That's where I see most of the poor quality. Is just the throw it together and get it done, and the 90-day turnaround houses. They just they just have multiple turnover crews, and so it's just, you know, you don't have anybody who's consistent and keeps quality. No work culture where people actually care about the work. I mean, people don't realize it, but if you have a work culture that is terrible, it's going to extend to your work.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And so, like, just because they have such a high turnover rate, it's just
someone new in, they're not trained, they're not familiar with the program. Yeah. Probably isn't a program.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so that's where I see most of the poor quality.
Down here.
Yeah.
Check your home.
Yeah. What's your guys's, I guess, like, for us, right, we just started our electrical division not too long ago, and for people that don't know, Corey's the man.
We work with Corey a lot.
Yeah, we work with Corey hand in hand, so a lot of our work goes to him as of recently, because, like, it's hard in service. Like, we don't really do the new construction. We would love to do new construction because it seems like I like keeping guys busy, you know, but I'd rather do service. It's just like trying to find the guy that knows what he's doing and is willing to grow it. But for new construction, like, you guys have been in business for a little bit now. What, if you don't mind sharing, like, what's your revenue or like your total sell for end of year? Because how many guys do you have in total?
We have 3.
So it's just like one crew pretty much, right?
Yeah, one crew.
Like, you'll break off and go run service calls and stuff like that if need be. But so just like one crew, like, what's your yearly sales goal look like? Or not even goal, but sales, like, what has it been looking like for you?
So this year is $750,000. Right,
okay.
Right now we're at 620.
So
nice.
So we're getting close.
So you think you'll get to, by the end of the year, you'll be 750, right?
Yes.
That's good. Because what's the profit margins look on that end? I know it's lower here in Southern Utah than most, because obviously we can only pull so much out of this place, and it seems like everyone's just doing dirt quality work for the cheapest price.
Yeah, and it's hard to compete with that.
It's hard. It's like, for me, not everyone's your customer. That's how I see it, you know, where it's like, if you want to pay that low cost, pay the low cost. But, like, I know what we do, and we're not going to cut corners just to make a paycheck. So, I mean, we charge the right amount. I don't feel like it's overkill, and I don't feel like it's underbidding, because it's not the fastest race at the bottom, you know?
Yeah, our margins are kind of like on a fluid scale. So, like, if we came out to just change an outlet, we still have operation costs for the day.
Yeah.
Like, for the time that I'm out there or my crew's out there, we still have operation costs for the day. So the margins are going to be a lot higher on just an outlet change. Yeah. Versus if we're there for a whole week.
Right.
So
that's how ours is. That's our setup the same way.
Very similar.
Yeah.
We run about 40 to 60%.
Yeah. It's just hard to keep up, like, service electrical. It's, like, hard to find that, I would say, the people looking for you, because, like, electrical isn't really, quote unquote, an emergency to most people, right?
Yeah. It's like plumbing. So, like, you have a leak. That's an emergency because you have water everywhere.
Yeah, and it's like,
but if your light switch doesn't work,
kill a breaker. Yeah.
Oh well, we'll use flashlights. And that's more of a need than a want.
Yeah, people don't really like.
Sorry, more of a want than a need.
Yeah, people don't really care. They're like, I'll call them when I need it, when it's a big thing, or like they get little sparks. They don't call. You know, like you plug in your phone charger and it sparks. You're like,
I'll find a different plug.
Yeah, no big deal. Like it's weird. So service isn't like urgent. You know, in electrical or with plumbing, HVAC, it's urgent. Flooding, your house is 100 degrees. What do you want? You know? Yeah. So
I think over the years that's going to change.
Yeah, I hope so.
With our power grid getting older and everything, I think it's going to change.
There's a lot of panel rejuvenations lately.
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of updates coming. Mainly here in St. George. I feel like that's like the biggest thing is panel rejuvenations right now. Just because everything's over 20 to 40 years old.
Yeah, things only last so long.
Yeah. It's just like anything, you know. Plumbing has usually about 40-year lifespan on the plumbing itself. You know, copper.
Well, that's the hard part though. Is you'll buy a house and you'll get a home inspector to come out, and the home inspector will give their piece, right? But I feel like the consumer, the house buyer, doesn't understand that your house needs to be upgraded or updated as you continue to live in it. And so a lot of people rely on, well, the home inspector says it was okay.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So my house, I feel like houses shouldn't sell without the update. Like my house sold, and it's like my panel, till this day, needs to be changed out because it's all out. It's all out of code.
Well, I know a guy.
Yeah, I know. I might know a guy. I'm just like, man, I know too. I'm like, man, electrical's expensive, but like my outlets, everything, like, but my panel, it's like, what is it called? Like they piggyback into each other or whatever, or like
Double tapped.
double tap. So my panel's double tapped, something along those lines. I bought my house like 2020, so I forget what he said, but I'm like, so you just sell it like this? He's like, yeah. I mean, you just got to
no
deal with
laws
it.
or rules on it.
Yeah,
so.
I'm like, man, there should be, like, if this is out of code, like it should be updated in order to sell, right? Don't leave it for the next guy, because we deal with a lot of that where people are like, oh, just get it to a passing point and we'll let the next guy deal with it, you know, because we're gonna sell it. Like,
Just wait. I think insurance companies are going to require it.
oh yeah,
It's just my own opinion, but I think they're going to require it soon.
I hope so.
Yeah, because it's hurting a lot of people when they buy a first-time new home or a used home, and then they get into it, and then they're hundreds of thousands of dollars in repairs, and then their house broke.
Yep. And then, well, see, and that's the other side where, like, insurance, they just don't want to pay out. Like, so in California, they just changed the rules, and don't quote me here, internet, but they now, to get work done on your home after the fact, you have to record or report it. Whereas before, like, I could call you out to my house in California, right? Have you do the work, and then that would just be that. Now it has to be reported and recorded with the cities or counties. It might not be everywhere. Don't quote me, internet, but they're moving to change things in how home repairs are done, which I think is great for the consumer. But really, at the end of the day, like in California, what we're seeing is insurance companies are not insuring homes, or insurance companies are leaving because of them being old and them understanding that this house is going to burn down or it's going to flood, and then that money's on us.
So they're trying to hold the person who did the repair liable.
100%. Yep. It's really interesting. I mean, to me, it's interesting.
That could be a slippery slope.
Oh, 100%. But it's kind of the landscape we're at. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the person goes and just changes an outlet, and the next thing you know, the house burns down from an unrelated issue.
Right. Well, and we deal with this all the time. Like, hey, you fixed our toilet, and now our sink in the third bathroom on the other side of the house you never saw. It's your fault.
Yeah, oh, dude, I hate that. It's worst.
Yeah. So.
But what's your thought? Because I know you're very outspoken on Facebook on unlicensed people. Yeah, so it's like, which is, we're like that because it's like, man, you know how much it took us to get everything that we needed, like to be plumbing. Like we waited 4 months. Like we both left. Like got let go. He got let go. I left our last company, and we had to wait. What, it was like 3 or 4 months before Doppel gave us back all of our paperwork. It was just because of during the time where it was like things were backed up. They lost employees and this and that. So we waited and waited until we were fully legal to be operational. But I mean, you got people out there just running, and they're charging, you know, a job we would charge for $1,000. They're charging $200, but they have no overhead. They have nothing because they're not a legitimate company.
Yeah.
What's your views on it? Because I'll see you all over Facebook. Like someone be like, oh, like I do electrical work. I don't see you on Doppel.
Nah,
I was like, yeah, just go Corey. Yeah, get him, man.
We never say anything, but we love when people do.
Well, it's just frustrating because all the work that I put in to get to here.
Oh, yeah.
And all the time and effort that I spent, and all the tests that I took, and all the studying I did.
Yep.
And I feel like that knowledge is worth something at the same time too.
Oh, yeah.
Because now my license is on the line if something goes wrong, and my business is on the line if something goes wrong.
Yep.
But someone who, like a handyman, like that's my biggest pet peeve is handymen who are like doing major electrical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that house burns down, that consumer is the one that's liable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the handyman wasn't properly licensed. And so, but the state of Utah doesn't go after, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure the state of Utah does not go after the handyman because
it's because of evidence.
Yeah.
We talked to Doppel about this pretty extensively because we felt, especially on Facebook, there was a ton of plumbers and HVAC guys that were winning work that were unlicensed. And Doppel came back to us, or we told Doppel, we're like, well, how can you guys continue to let him work? And their specific response was, well, they're not advertising.
And it has to be where they have to find them in the moment doing it, which in service, they're not going to walk into a house to see, like, hey, let me
It's
walk
like
in.
a coordinated attack. Like you're having like the FBI show up to swarm the house, like Doppel's coming up to take down an unlicensed guy. It's crazy. It sucks, but it's like we have this governing board that we all have to adhere to, but then the unlicensed guys don't have to adhere to it, and the board that governs us doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's wild to me.
But we'll get slapped all the time with, like we haven't, but, businesses do. Like they just get hammered down because you're doing everything right. And that's the part for me that is irritating. Like you see the guys that are unlicensed and not doing things by the book, winning all these calls. Like that's the thing. Like we'll go out and give them a bid for garbage disposal. And they're like, well, Paul down the street is a handyman. He said he'll do it for $200. I'm like, yeah, but he's not licensed. Like he doesn't have anything like the overhead that we have. You called a plumber, So
Yeah.
it's tough to watch because, like you say, going to school, doing all the like everything we need to do to get to where we're at to be legal, and they make us look like bad people. Is how I see it. Like they're like, well, you're ripping us off because so and so will do it for $2. Like we just did a RO replacement, bladder tank, all that, and. She's
Landlords.
She's like, the landlord said he could do that for $100. Can you come take it out and he'll do it? We're like, no, you signed the paperwork, you signed the before and after, and the payment. Like you signed everything. You agreed to these prices. Like we tell you prices beforehand, and if we come and take it out, we lose. We can't take the equipment back. We can't put it in someone else's house. Like it's gone. Like we just took a massive loss. So, like for us, it's a big headache because we feel like we get targeted to look as bad people in that sense.
And I've been targeted on Facebook before, like,
I've seen it. Yeah.
I gave someone a quote.
Yeah.
To change out a light, and people don't realize that in older houses, they brought all the electrical into one single box, and then they shot off a wire to a switch.
Yeah.
It's called the switch loop. And so they wanted me to put a can light there. And
was that you that they were talking about?
Yeah.
They made a post about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that recently.
And it wasn't going to be easy. And so like it was going to be like $300-$400 because it was going to take a lot of work.
Yeah.
And they just heckled me out of their house. And then they posted it on Facebook and bashed me.
That's insane.
Well, the other crazy part that I think people don't realize, and you'll appreciate this, is
they didn't remember your name, huh? They posted a picture of your truck, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
yeah.
that. I was like, that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was you. I didn't even pay attention. I was just like, I checked it.
The cost it takes to get to the house, right?
Yeah.
Like before, because we get it all the time. Like we'll do free quotes on certain things, but we're not going to come quote like removing a like a valve from a toilet tank, right? Or like a flapper from the toilet tank. We're not going to come give you a free quote on that because that doesn't make sense. It costs money for us to get there.
Yeah.
And so these consumers have this idea that for whatever reason we're cheaper, we don't know our worth or whatever it is, but it costs money to get to the house. Like for us specifically, it costs
$350.
yeah, for us to show up to the house between like all the marketing, the van payments, insurance.
And that's based off an average call a month. Like how many
Right,
calls are we
yeah.
running a month? And this is where we get our cost breakdown. Okay. So all overhead and everything else. It costs about $350 to show up to your doorstep.
Mm-hmm. So pricing is very specific is kind of my point, that the pricing's in place because for us to get there, for your time, and the biggest part that they disregard is the education and knowledge. It's almost like people in the trades are stupid and don't deserve to be paid.
Correct.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that, like, you guys actually go to school. Like there's school to it. There's, like you said, tests behind it. There's studying behind it. I think the general population just thinks you guys show up and do the work, which is why they might think handyman can do it.
Yeah. In order to have a master's license of electrician, you have to have a total of 16,000 hours of total education. So to get a journeyman's license, you have to have 8,000 hours as an apprentice. And then to get a master's license, you have to have 8,000 hours as a journeyman electrician. So in total, you have to have 16,000 hours of electrical on-the-job experience.
And just for everyone out there, that's 667 days of hours. So that equals 667 24-hour days.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and on
a
top
lot.
of that, to get your journeyman's license, you have to take 3 trade tests. You have to take a theory, a code, and a practical. And then to get your master's license, you have to take a theory and a code again. So, and each of those tests aren't cheap. Like the test prep alone is like $300
Oh, wow.
per test.
Is that the same for you guys?
It's something like that. Yeah, it costs a lot. It's the whole school process is a lot of money. You know, we have 4 years of school.
Yeah, it's cheaper than college, but it's still
It costs a
a
lot.
lot of money.
Still an
It's still a lot of
investment.
your time too, though. And then the equipment, you know, your tools, your knowledge. And that's the thing. It's like, well, that's the thing I hate on Facebook too. It's like, oh, it seems like an easy job, 30 minutes. Okay, do it. If it's so easy, do it. And that's the thing. Like, we go in and like, I'll quote them like a flapper ball, whatever. It's $290. So like for that's like quick in and out. You should be done. Yeah, but that even at that cost, I'm losing money because I'm here right now. Like it cost me $350 to be here.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for $200 and some dollars. Like I lost money to do this job.
People don't realize it costs money to do business.
Yeah.
Like, you have to spend money in order to be able to give them that service.
Yeah, I'm like, realistically, like you should be charged over $400 based off of my thing, but like based off of our expenses. But like I know that's not fair to you. You know, I know that's not what it.
I mean, we're all consumers here. We understand.
Oh yeah.
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 Well, the thing, we go to a doctor and we have, whether it's our insurance or us paying out of pocket, the doctor has to get paid. And what's he get paid for? His education and knowledge and experience. Same thing with you guys. You guys should be paid for your education, knowledge, and experience. So
Yeah, it's like, well, you called us because we are knowledgeable and we know how to do it. If it was that easy, because it's easy for us, it should be cheaper, you know. But for them, it's like, well, I'm like, because I always tell people, well, why don't you do it? If it's easy, like, just knock it out. And they're like, well, we don't know how to.
we
But
don't
like,
have the tools.
yeah, but for you, we don't have the tools. But for you, it's easy. This is what you do. Yeah, but I've trained. I've done this for years. It's all my years and expertise that like have gone into this that I can do it that fast. But when I started, like a tankless used to take me a day to do. Now I could do a tankless in 3 to 4 hours, you know, where it's like, man, it used to take me forever. I needed help and all this and that. And they're like, well, it should be quick and easy. But I'm like, no, there's a lot of work into it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's people, I think that's a hard thing people fail to realize, like how much it takes for us to operate, and it's not cheap. And as things are getting more expensive, they're like, well, why are you guys so expensive? Have you gone grocery shopping?
Yeah.
Have you filled up your gas tank?
It's like I don't get why people don't haggle the grocery stores.
Yeah.
Yes,
Starbucks.
this is a great
But
point.
they haggle trades.
Yeah. Why do we get haggled? I'll just I tell people, no, that's our cost all the time.
Like, I mean, I'm not offended if they're like, I can't afford that. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's okay. But I don't like to get haggled and, you know, belittled because I'm giving you a price.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, right? It's like people that can't afford it, like the stay at home, the single moms or whatever, it's the elderly. It's like, okay, like how can I help you? And I will. But if it's just like, I see you got a BMW, a Lambo outside, and you're like, oh, you're really going to charge me that much? This and that. I'm like, you're not struggling. And this is what it costs for me to operate. Like I have a soft spot for the people actually like making $18 an hour that can't afford it. Those people I'll help out. But I'm like, I got operating costs. Like, sorry, like this is what it costs to get the job done. Are you haggling your doctor? Are you haggling the grocery store? No. So why do we get that blunt end of the stick? Because we're looked down upon. We have an episode out where it talks about that, like how the trades are kind of looked down on as to like, oh, you don't want to be in the field, you don't want to work in the field, get an office job, you know. But
yeah, and I try to be fair with my pricing.
yeah.
So like, there's been times where, like I said, it's going to cost X amount of dollars, and then you open it up and you're like, crap. And then so I try to be fair, and then I go back to the customer and say, hey, I did not expect this to happen. I just at that point I just do it at cost.
Yeah.
Because they want to get it done, but at the same time I can't be a charity and lose money.
Yeah.
100%.
And so I just do it fair, and I just do it at cost, so that way everyone's happy and everyone wins. And at the end of the day,
No one lost. You got the job. You
one
fed
lost.
your family. You got family. You got your own family to feed.
yeah.
That's what it is. I'm like, I got my own kids to feed. Like, sorry, that's where I'm at in my life.
Yeah.
Let's switch this up. What would you say the most fun or crazy job you've done was?
Oh boy. Fun or crazy?
Yeah.
Which one?
Or both.
Or both.
Let's do fun. What was the most fun job you've done?
It's hard because I find them all fun.
Yeah, you have fun. Yeah. We find that we have a lot of fun at work too. What would you say the most notable job is that you've done? These are such broad words.
I know, huh? Ruben always.
I couldn't tell you because I mean I think every job I go to I take pretty seriously. And,
Yeah.
you know, like
What was the biggest job you've ever done?
personally as a company or ever in my entire ever. I think it would have to be the iron mines, because that was a full year project, and I know there's people out there that have done like decades long projects.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, this is Southern Utah. We don't have Facebook data center that we can stay in for 10 years.
Yeah.
But
And you're still early in your career, so
Yeah.
that could change.
Yeah, we might have sky rises pretty soon. This could be LA.
no, no, St. George won't get sky rises anytime soon.
Yeah.
It'll always be small.
But no, I think the iron mines was the most fun job, because I got to do a lot of things that most other apprentices never got to do. I got to work with medium voltage. So 4160, and I got to wear the hot suit and everything. And as a third-year apprentice, look like what's that TV show? What's that computer game where the people have like all the hoods on and everything in there?
Oh, come on, Blake.
Among Us.
No.
Well,
Fallout? I don't know.
yeah, like
I know what you're talking
you
about.
cut them in half, and all of a sudden there's this big, huge bone.
Yeah, that's Among Us.
Among Us. Yeah, so you look like the Among Us character when you're putting in a breaker or flipping on it.
That's
so
awesome.
I think that would be my most fun.
Like a spacesuit.
Yeah, because of the adrenaline rush of not knowing if it's going to explode on you.
Yeah.
Is this it?
That's
Man,
awesome.
you gotta love your job to be an electrician and do that. Is this the last time? You know? Oh, I couldn't. That scared the piss out of me.
Well, I mean, I've stopped my heart once, and that was pretty scary.
Oh yeah? Damn.
Yeah.
Like you got zapped so hard your heart stopped?
Well, I was putting in a soft start on a AC unit.
Oh, crazy.
And I touched a capacitor
Oh.
on my left hand, and my elbow was on the unit.
Oh man,
And then
grounded
so
yourself.
it went right through my heart, and it's the weirdest feeling, just feeling your heart just, not move. Like,
Shut down.
well, it's kind of like, how when the electricity is on everything, all of a sudden it turns off, you notice a difference.
Yeah.
Like, that's the same with your heart. It's like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah, I've had my heart stop before for other reasons, but I know what you're talking about.
Just quick? They just
Well, it was just held in place. It's kind of like, you're getting shocked, your muscles contract, your heart's a muscle.
Yeah.
So because I got shocked, my heart just got held there in place.
Was it just you by yourself?
Well, yeah, Taz was in the car on the call, and he looked over and he's like,
Yeah. Hey, he might die, whatever. Oh man,
he
that's
found
scary.
out that happened, and he's like, oh, well,
Ugh.
good thing.
I was 18 changing a fluorescent bulb at this place I worked, and I was on a ladder, and I had the one end of the bulb in. I had my hand on the ladder, and for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to put my finger on the one end of the fluorescent bulb to try to push it up in there. Next thing I knew, I was on the ground.
That's insane.
Sent me. That was a big lesson. Knew I didn't want to be an electrician right then.
Yeah, no, that's
Well, my parents always joked, because when I was younger, I took 2 butter knives and I stuck it in the socket like
Oh,
that.
God.
And they said that's the reason I became an electrician, because of that.
His hair stands up. He's like, "This is what I want to do for a living."
Zapped into him.
Oh man.
You get superpowers.
Yeah.
No, I think I just got super dumber.
Yeah. Permafried.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that
so
doesn't seem
cool.
fun. Well, do you got anything fun going on with your company that you want to share? Anything along those lines, or you guys just out there cracking the whip on electrical jobs?
Yep, we're just cracking the whip.
There you go, man. That's
Building America, building Utah.
yeah, one house at a time. Well, if you had one thing to share or one piece of advice to give the world, what would it be? Deep, fun, anything. Doesn't matter. Just one piece of advice.
Be kind to one another,
Mm,
because tomorrow's never promised.
I like to be kind.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost anything.
Simple.
Yeah, because it seems like right now, like yes, there's days we get frustrated, but it just seems like our world is just so everybody's angry at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, just be kind, be fair, and know that everyone else is human.
I love it.
Yeah.
I do.
Treat your kids with respect. Everyone's someone's kid, So I'm all about it. I love that. I love that saying, because it's the same thing for what we do as a company. And I think what all companies should do is you go out there, be kind, treat these people like they're your own family, and they'll appreciate you. We got to get back to having,
Especially your employees.
yeah. Without
Amen.
you being a business owner, without
Especially
your employees.
because, I mean, your employees are humans. They got families.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, they've got baggage that they bring to work. And so if you can find out how to make their home life better, it'll make your business life better
Yeah.
because then it'll bring that to work.
Help your employees succeed. I
Yep.
love that, Corey. How can we find you? How can people find Ampere Electric?
So we're on Google to search Ampere Electric. You'll get a bunch of Ampere Electrics because I found out that I wasn't the only one that figured that out. So Ampere Electric in Southern Utah. There's also ampereelectricutah.com, or you can call us at 435-868-1912
Love it.
and send us a text also.
Love that. Awesome. You can find us on every social platform: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Nextdoor, Threads, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, or visit us at www.dinoservicepros.com or the stgeorgeplumber.com. Or you can call us at 435-236-4568.
Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.